Welcome to the first daily game preview and pick preview broadcast. We'll continue naturally NHL and review the previous picks and games, as well as then check today's game and find few positive expected values there from those markets. But Tommy, how was the first day of NHL? How our predictions went?
The first night was really exciting, of course. It's the opening night, so great to be back with NHL and first of many sleepless nights here in Finland. But it was a great night, of course. Our picks went pretty much as expected, so we made a little bit of profit there. Just to go through a little bit of the last night's game, let's go one by one and start with the Battle of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. There we had Philadelphia winning 52.3% over the Penguins. Very even odds, about 50-50 to start the game. Of course, we knew that Philadelphia is going to be a strong team this season, and we had them winning this game. Maybe we're not expecting as overwhelming result as 6-3 as the game finished, but we like the over there as well. 6.3 goals scored in the simulations, ended up with 9 goals, so pretty well over. Of course, to take something out of the game, Pittsburgh Penguins, as we've been speaking, is a little bit in decline. Only the third line got their game going. A little bit disappointing game from Malkin and the likes. And on the other hand, then Philadelphia showed that they have the depth that they have been lacking somewhat. Nolan Patrick scored a first goal in over one season after the absence. So they have a lot of depth in their team, and they showed that. Then moving on to Tampa Bay, not much to tell there. They faced Chicago. We got Tampa Bay winning for 70% of the simulations. The odds were around 61% for Tampa. They beat Chicago 5-1. The only goal that Chicago scored was a lucky bounce from behind the net. So Andrei Vasilevsky's clean sheet went there, but otherwise it was overwhelming result for Tampa Bay as expected. Then the battle in the north, Toronto, Montreal. We were picking Toronto to win this one at home. 64% in simulations. The odds indicated around 55%, so pretty good value there. Very exciting game, a lot of grit and toughness there. Had a couple of fights and this sort of good old Canadian hockey. Toronto prevailed in the end, 5-4 in the overtime, so our pick was correct. Also nice to see Montreal, Josh Anderson, 2 goals, scored 1 goal last season in 26 games, now already doubled the tally, so a great comeback from the big guy, and very happy that he's gotten going right away. Something to take a look at, the goaltending situation in Toronto. We were not maybe expecting Carey Price of Montreal to let 5 goals, but in Toronto, a little bit of defensive problems and goaltending not so well the first game. So let's keep an eye out on the overs for Toronto. Continuing in Canada, Edmonton, Vancouver. Of course, our simulations like Edmonton because of Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. We had Edmonton winning 59% of the games, of the simulations. The odds were about 50-50. And of course, Vancouver took the spoils here 3-5. Was a high scoring game, and it did emphasize the problems that Edmonton has. So Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, no goals between them. It was the lower lines then scoring. But if the opponents manage to shut down this duo, Edmonton has hard time winning. And of course, also defensively, not a good result at all. Also goaltending there a little bit questionable. So not a very good performance by the Oilers. Excellent showing from Vancouver, though, really fast team. Very much production from the young guys. So something to look out for as well. And last but not least, let's go to our Stanley Cup favorites facing off: Colorado Avalanche versus St. Louis Blues. 2 years ago, St. Louis won the Stanley Cup. This time around, we thought it was going to be high-scoring game, very high-octane offense of Avalanche, but it was St. Louis defense that took the credit from this, and St. Louis won 1-4 on the road. We had Avalanche winning 64% of the simulations. The odds indicated about 55. So we were wrong this time around with St. Louis. But something to emphasize again, St. Louis defense, amazing game. They boxed out pretty much every offensive try of Colorado Avalanche, didn't allow any clear-cut chances. So very good performance defensively. And like we've established, Craig Berube knows how to make his team play defense, and they just continued what they do best. So something that Avalanche will need to figure out is to get more pace in their game, throw in the pucks at goal and try to fight at the in front of the crease. So how about our picks? You have some interesting details from those.
Yes, so if we take a first look overall numbers out of these 5 games, winner we got correct in 3, so there was also similar 3 positive expected side value winners, so you would end up $30 profit if you bet $100 for every game. Then for the totals, there were only 3 games that was different from our simulations to Vegas line, and out of those we got 1 correct, 2 were wrong. So by betting totals yesterday, you would end up $120 loss. And then we had our picks, 2 of them, and can here quickly share the screen that we had St. Louis and Colorado over 5.5 goals. Our simulation was predicted 6 goals there, but like you said, St. Louis defense was very good. Colorado couldn't get their offense going, so it was only 5 goals and the total bet was wrong. Then Toronto was another pick. They struggled a bit in the first period, but then took the game overtime and won it. So at the end, by betting $100 of both of these, end up losing $18 yesterday's picks. How about today? There is quite a few games coming. Anything special that interests you out of these, I think, 9 games?
Yeah, it's pretty much the rest of the NHL playing tonight that were not on fire yesterday, except for Dallas Stars, of course, and their opponent Florida, who are postponed the games for some time due to this COVID outbreak thing in Dallas. So very exciting about all the games. Interesting to see the likes of Washington, Buffalo, for example. How do they do? But to pick a couple of interesting ones for from our simulations is New York Islanders, New York Rangers, a local match in New York, the Big Apple. We are, of course, predicting New York Rangers to be a little bit better by 58%, and the odds are pretty much 50-50. At the moment, Islanders are deemed a little bit a favorite, but it has been fluctuating a little bit, so take a look at the odds before making any bets. But we do have Rangers as favorites, so let's go with the Rangers in this one with pretty good odds of 105. The other one that we can go for is in Vegas, the Western Division, which we have already deemed to be pretty weak at the bottom and pretty good on top. So Vegas is one of the better teams there, but this time we don't go for Vegas win because their odds are pretty lousy. But let's go for the under. We have the line is at 6, and we have 67% of the simulations going under that 6 goals. Some of the explanation, probably Vegas, even if they have a couple of high-scoring wingers, they're still lacking in the center. They have really good defense, really good goaltenders. They're not allowing a lot of goals, but the goal scoring might be a problem. Anaheim, on the other hand, rebuilding team still, strong in defense, weak in offense, should be a low-scoring affair. What do you think?
I think that we have 2 good games here, but it would be good also to check a few others, what is available. I think we have positive expected value from Minnesota, Arizona, Edmonton in these later games. But for example, Minnesota visiting LA, the historical statistics is not too much favoring Minnesota, even though they have the positive expected value out of simulation. So Kings have been strong at home. They won 80% of the games against Minnesota. And Edmonton is playing now back-to-back against Vancouver. And Edmonton home back-to-back record is not very great either. So when they have played at home those back-to-back games, the win percentage is only 33%, while their other home game win percentage is 46 during the last 3 seasons. And like you said, they were not anything significant in yesterday's loss for the Vancouver. So I think in many cases when there are positive expected value, it would be good to check that what kind of historical trends and statistics there are. And just to back this up, that Vancouver is not any great team in back-to-back away games, but as this is the second game of the season, I think they still have some fuel in the tank, and they can continue the run what they did yesterday.
Yeah, that's an interesting take also because it's a back-to-back game. They probably changed their goalkeeper, so Vancouver is likely to go with Thatcher Demko, young guy, last season pretty impressive. And Edmonton then changing to Mike Smith, the old veteran player, almost as tall, I think, as Mikko Koskinen is, but that's something that is interesting to see with the Edmonton Oilers is the goaltending situation, which one of these giants will be the number 1 keeper. Koskinen has started as number 1, but it can change fast if he doesn't make an effort to make his team win, to allow his team to win, and letting in easy goals is not the way to go with Oilers, even if they managed to score more goals than that 3 against Vancouver yesterday. Just to point out one other quite interesting over here in Winnipeg, another Northern Canadian contest, 2 quite tough teams, quite good offensively, maybe lacking a little bit defensively. Some changes in Calgary, of course. That game is simulated to score 6 goals exactly, and the line just dropped around 5.5. So take a look at the over there. I would probably personally like that bet because it's going to be a high-scoring game in my papers for sure.
Sounds good. Let's see what kind of show Patrick Laine will put to boost his trade stock in Winnipeg. So that would also have some kind of impact to the score line there and total bet. But tonight, early games, New York Rangers, late games, total bet in Vegas. So there is a good 5 hours late for great hockey to watch.
Yeah.
Very good. We'll wait and see how our picks go, and we'll continue tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do that.